You're now listening to Tuff Tiger Talk.
All right, guys. Proud to introduce these outstanding three new staff members of Louisiana State University Fighting LSU Tigers. I want to start with our defensive coordinator, Daronte Jones. He's going to be the defensive coordinator and coach the safeties. Very impressive young man. The one thing that was really critical for me and all these hires is when I listened to them on the interview, how they would speak to our players and how they connect to our players. And all three of these guys did a tremendous job in that area. Daronte Jones came highly recommended by Dave Aranda, who we all have a lot of respect for here at LSU, and also Mike Zimmer, who's a great coach at the Minnesota Vikings and was from the Dallas Cowboy family. Daronte has already done some tremendous stuff in the office. It's going to be his first day with the team today. He's talked to a lot of members of our defense, and they're excited to have him. The second guy, linebacker coach Blake Baker, comes from the University of Miami. He was the defensive coordinator. Has a lot of experience here in Louisiana. Is from Houston. Outstanding coach, very knowledgeable, very energetic, and outstanding recruiter. His wife is from Mandeville. She played soccer here at LSU, and they're excited to come home. And Blake wanted to be here as much as we wanted him, so it was a great fit. He did a great job on his interview, and it didn't take long to figure out he'd be an outstanding coach for us here at LSU. The last guy, Andre Carter, defensive line, we got him from the New York Jets. Me and Andre go back to 1997 when I tried to recruit him. I was at USC. He went to Cal. I remember playing against him. He had the best get-off and one of the best rushers I'd ever seen. I followed his career, 80 sacks, a tremendous coach, a tremendous young man. Joe Vitt, who I respect a lot with the Saints, highly recommend him. He worked with him in New York Jets. And also Devon Gacho. Devon called me about Andre Carter and Daronte Jones. He worked with both of those guys at the University of Miami. So excited to have all three of these guys. It's our first day. They've been hard at work. We got football school today. They'll be running the meetings. They'll be coaching their positions. And I'll be excited to get them on the first day of work. Any questions?
Hey, Coach. Good morning. Two questions. What did you learn from your previous hires that you tried to utilize during this search? And my second question, was it important for you to get minority coaches on staff? You talked about relating to the players. Mm-hmm. Was that something that you really targeted and wanted heading into this process?
Yes, it was important to get minority coaches on our staff that could relate to our players, but also great coaches. And these guys fit both of those categories. And, one of the things that I did in the interview, Mike, is I wanted to make sure that those guys were okay with me being involved in the defense. And I'm going to be involved in the defense, and I want to be involved, especially when it comes to the front. I had let that go a little bit, and I wish I wouldn't have done that. And so I'm going to be more involved with the defense. And every time that I interviewed every guy, I told them, so listen, here's what I expect. Here's what I'm going to do. Do you agree to it? And obviously they agreed to it. So I get a chance to be give my expertise on the defense along with these coaches.
Hey, Coach, good morning. Jacques from WAFB. Coach, Blake Baker obviously is not your defensive coordinator, but he brings a lot of wealth of experience in that department, right? That can't hurt, right, on your staff.
Yeah, no, it helps. It's already helped in the meetings, And somebody for Daronte to have a sounding board off, hey, Blake, what'd you think about this? And then, guys that can make adjustments, especially in the college game. Man, it comes down to adjustments, fast football, basketball on grass. And, Blake has a wealth of experience, so we're going to use it.
Hey, Ed, I know it's all about being multiple these days, but is there any kind of sense yet of the general scheme Daronte Jones is going to want to kind of run this one?
Yeah, we will be based out of a 4-3. And one of the reasons I hired Daronte because of the defensive ends that we got coming back. I didn't want Ali Gay to play a 4 technique. And so there's a couple of great candidates that when they wanted to run a 3-4 defense, I thought that our personnel right now suited more to a 4-3 defense with B.J. Ojulari, Andre Anthony coming back. And I do believe we have some good young inside guys, some older inside guys coming back. So that was a big decision in hiring Daronte.
Hey, Coach. Garland Gillen, Fox State of New Orleans. I know National Sign Day isn't the same now that early National Sign Day has taken so much precedence. How excited are you for tomorrow? You still have 5 spots. What are you looking for on Wednesday?
Yeah, we have 2 solid commitments right now, and we have a couple of guys that we're 50-50 with. Could go either way, and we'll see how it goes tonight. But I also want to keep a couple of transfers. We're looking for graduate transfers or transfers at need position, and one of them is a linebacker position or best player available. It doesn't hurt to maybe have 2 or 3 scholarships with all the transfers that we have to fill in specific needs.
Hey, Coach, I know these hires now have been made official for really, well over a week. I'm just curious, have you talked with a bunch of the defensive players over the last week and just kind of what are their initial impressions of the coaches and all that? Yeah,
they're excited. They've met with most of their coaches. Everyone's come back with rave reviews. I do believe that I think the average age of the coaches on the staff has dropped like 20 years. So, I'm the old man of the staff now. So, these guys are young guys. They can relate to our players. They're energetic. They want to be here. And I think that makes a difference when you're young, you're energetic, you want to prove yourself at a school like LSU, you're going to do a great job.
You mentioned you were talking to them about your vision of being more involved here. What is your vision for the defense? What were you trying to get across versus what you've been trying to build here? And obviously they have some NFL experience. Or why is that also important for what you? Well,
all of our guys want to go to the NFL. All our guys come here, they want to win championships and go to the NFL. So when those guys are coaching them, they know they've been in the NFL. So here's what you need to do. And those guys are going to listen to them. I'll take Andre Carter, for example. He's played 13 years in the NFL. And he's teaching the defensive linemen something. They don't want to do it. He's going to say, okay, you ain't going to make it in the NFL. I think they're going to listen to him, stuff like that. But the vision for the defense is getting back to playing LSU defense. I grew up watching LSU defense, giving 11 hats to the ball, being physical, being tough, not giving up big plays and make it tough to score on. That's the type of defense that we want.
Hey, this is Scott Rabelais. I think you're selling yourself short. Gregory Mann still has you by a couple of years in age.
I'm going to remind him of that.
2 questions. One, what is the Super Bowl is week 6? LSU guys more than most of any team. What pride do you take in that? Obviously, you coached a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
And second of all, with defenses today, you talk about playing LSU defense. Has it changed in terms of what is an effective defense?
Yeah.
Because people are scoring more points and getting more yards. I mean, is it? And y'all did a good job of disrupting last year. Is it disrupting? Is it making big plays on defense? Has it changed a little bit over the years?
Yeah, it has changed. When I grew up, the goal was holding for 13 points or less. That's not happening nowadays. And really, if you hold up under 30 points, you have a chance to win in every game with an offense that scores 45, 50 points. You never want to say that, but that's reality. And I think that the thing that I want on defense is for us to keep the ball in front of us, keep our eyes on the quarterback, play more zone coverage, continue with a great pass rush, and make it hard for them to go down the field and not give up explosive plays. What was the other question, Scott? Super Bowl,
all the players in the Super Bowl.
Proud of them.
Most of any school.
Proud of them. Look, we're selling that to our recruits. And every recruit I talked to this week, I'm proud of them. People ask me who I'm pulling for in the Super Bowl. I'm just pulling for the Tigers, man. They have Tigers on both sides, so I'm pulling for them.
Hey, Coach, what this second signing day period has sort of turned into a thing where it seems like colleges are balancing who do we need to hold spots for maybe in the portal down the line versus who should we go ahead and take now? What's that balancing act like now that you've gone through a couple of things?
Well, the experience tells me to save a couple of scholarships to get great graduate transfers. I wouldn't want to go into the spring not having spots for great graduate transfers or anybody to transfer portal. I do believe we'll have at least 2 or maybe 3, and then we're looking at specific needs, especially at linebacker. We feel that there's some linebackers that can come in here and help us immediately. We're going to go after them.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Just wanted to first off by saying thank you. Thank you. I'm honored and blessed to be a part of this wonderful program with such rich tradition. Thankful to Coach O. Thankful to the athletic department, the administration, especially to the family of LSU. Just happy to be happy to be back in the state of Louisiana. It's kind of like my second home. And look forward to what the future holds and how exciting it's going to be a Tiger this year. So at this point in time, if anyone has any questions,
Hey, Coach. Good morning. My name is Michael Cobble. I work at the ABC TV station here.
Thank you.
What intrigued you about this job? Why was it appealing to you? And what are you most anxious, I guess, to kind of sink your teeth into about it?
Well, the first thing is the prestige of LSU, right? As a whole, as a university, what it means to the community in Louisiana. How it's a staple. When I was here in Louisiana, I mean, everyone wanted to be a part of the program. And I love how the recruiting has put a fence around the state. And so that was very intriguing. And then to be a part of such tradition that they have here in terms of the defensive tradition, attacking style, overall, the playmakers that you're going to get from the state of Louisiana and the best around the country. So you have a chance to get the best players in the country, as you see it on this upcoming Sunday, right, with the Super Bowl participants. So that carries over. And then working with Coach O. I look back to Coach O and, he followed when he was at Ole Miss, and then I had a chance to visit with him when he was at USC, and you love his energy, you love being around him and what he brings to the table. And guys play to that. Guys respond to that. And so just to be a part of that energy, the culture that he has built here, it was enticing. It was enticing.
Hey, Daronte, Brooks Cabina from The Advocate. Ed Ogeron was just talking about how he wanted to be a little involved with the defense, and he talked to y'all about his vision. Whenever y'all were talking about the defense schematically, what is your vision for what LSU's defense is and what y'all will build here, what people will see?
Players first, scheme second. Right? Players first, scheme second. And so we want to put our guys in the best position to make plays. Right? We want to minimize error, make sure we're over-communicating, have an attacking style defense where we can dictate the terms and play fast. These guys are here for their athletic ability. We're going to give them some techniques and fundamentals, and we're going to harp on that. We're going to be very detailed in that. We're going to, coaches have already probably talked to you about in terms of probably based out of a 4-3, because you have, some studs on the outside with Ali Gay, and you have Andre Anthony, those guys like that can set the edge and play fast. And so want to utilize their talents where they can be on the edge, play half a man, and disrupt the passing game. Also leading to that, to be very physical in the run game. The biggest thing that we want to do is do everything as violent as possible. And that's the aggressive mindset that we want to set forth going forward.
Hey, Coach, this is Shay Dixon with 24/7 Sports.
How's it going, Shay?
Congrats on
Appreciate it.
Good job.
Appreciate it.
I was curious when you came, when you got your interview and got to talk to Coach O as a coach, what was that thing?
One, the ability to communicate. I think that's a strength that a coach has to have, the ability to teach. We're all teachers at the end of the day. And to command the room, to help guys understand and break this game down to its simplest format. And that's what I wanted to convey to Coach in terms of, on the interview, having the abilities to make this game easier in the thought process. And then also, like we just talked about in terms of over-communicating, being a teacher, giving the guys the motivation to go out and put their best foot forward so that we can have a productive product on the field.
Hey, Coach Jones, this is Glenn West with LSU Country. Welcome aboard. I was just, curious. You're also going to be coaching the safeties
yes.
This year. I'm just curious as to what you see out of this secondary, what kind of improvements that can be made heading into this 2021 season, and then also your excitement level to get to work with Corey Raymond.
Oh, well, just in terms of there's talent on the back end, I believe, especially with the safety position. Going forward, we want to be technique and fundamentally sound. We want to make sure our communication is clear and precise, making sure everyone's on the same page, and working with Corey. I've known Corey for a couple of years, for quite a few years now, dating back to when we both were coaching high school ball here in Louisiana. So having that relationship, we've clinicked with each other over the years, and so we have some of the same beliefs. And so I think the transition would be much easier in that way. We'll be working together. And so when the safeties and corners are working together, it minimizes any miscommunications. And so I'm excited about the back end, being on the same page, minimizing the communication, working with Corey, working the press technique, working the safeties to be very physical in the run game, and also having some deep zone awareness and playmaking ability.
Hey, Daronte, Brody Miller with The Athletic. How's it going?
Good.
I know you said, players first, schemes second,
yes.
But, you've been around so many schemes, been around so many coaches. I guess I'm curious what the process is for kind of building your own identity and schemes and philosophies.
Well, it's about the, attitude reflects leadership, right? And so to be aggressive, I think that's one of the key things. As long as we're fundamentally a technique sound, I know I keep harping on that, but that's football. That's football, and everything else comes with it. So you have to you have to have the right technique. I know the fundamental. I know my assignment. I know what to do, and now I can go and execute what the coach is asking me to do. And so to me, that's just the identity of sound football, gap scheme, gap sound. Everyone doing their 111th, doing their job, and that's what we can bring. That's what we have to bring, and then the ability to communicate. I want to keep stressing the ability to over-communicate and across the board on defense, because when you over-communicate, you minimize mental errors. And so that's the first thing we want to focus on, is minimizing the mistakes, minimizing any mental errors. Everyone's on the same page. And when everyone's on the same page and you're not thinking as much, then you can play fast and you can let your athleticism show. Because when you prepare, right, we want to talk about the preparation going into the game, preparing, focus, that breeds confidence, okay? Miscommunication, not having the proper preparation, not knowing how to break down film, not knowing what to look for on film as you study your opponent, that breeds stress, okay? And so we want more confidence and less stress when they're on the football field.
Hey, Daronte, this is Garland Gillen out of Fox 8 in New Orleans. You're coming from the NFL, which is the top of the talent chain, but how appealing was it to come to LSU, because most of the kids you're going to be coaching are 4- and 5-star recruits that are all destined for the NFL. I mean, there's not that much of a drop-off from the pros of the LSU with this defense.
That's a good point. We were talking about that the other day. When you look at our roster, and like you said, there's so many 4- and 5-star athletes on this roster, it's not the case really in the NFL. When you get that, there's a lot of talent. There can be arguably more first-round picks or more first- and second-round draft picks on this ball club than in any NFL team. And so they just has to be developed, right? But the talent is there. If you look at the national championship team, the amount of first-rounders, I don't know too many NFL teams have 7 or 8 first-rounders on their team, just because of how you got to draft. So the talent is here. I think the talent is here. The SEC West is like another division, right, at the end of the day of the National Football League. But we still have to develop the talent. Like you said, they come in as a 4- or 5-star athlete, but now it's our job to get them to play and prepare and perform as a 4- and 5-star athlete.
Hey, Daronte. My name is Jared Joseph, reporter with Fox 44 NBC 33 in Baton Rouge. Congratulations on getting the job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I was wondering, as a black man and Coach O's emphasis about making sure they have people who can relate to the players, what kind of relationship do you hope to build with this team, especially given the social injustice and environment that surrounded the team, especially what they went through last year? What kind of message and, I guess, moral compass do you hope to instill in the team when you build a bond with them?
That's a great question, especially with the climate that's going on in our country right now. My best answer to that is just continue to be myself. And what I mean by that is I believe in building genuine relationships. And, this business, we are in a relationship business. And what we do as coaches is building that trust factor, right? And so for a player to go out and want to lay it on the line for you, he's got to, be able to trust you. And do you have his best interest at heart? Can you relate to the person and not just the player? And I think that has been one of my goals as I go to each program or wherever I've been in the past, and just building that genuine relationships. Hey, man, I care about you. I care about your future. I care about life after football for you. I want to help you prepare to be not only the best team member that you could be, but be the best man that you can be, so that you can develop into the community and be the best father that you can be, right? And so when that happens, when you have that, when you can help mold young men into becoming men and becoming better men in society, I think it helps the overall compass of our culture and the issues that we're facing in our society. And so I've always believed in that. Wherever I coached, building those genuine relationships with those guys, establishing that trust, and then they have some accountability with that as well, right? Holding them accountable for their actions on and off the field, and how we're all interconnected. And what you do off the field, you may think, well, Coach, this is my personal time. That affects not only your teammates, it affects your family, and we have to learn and mature from that way. And so just continue to instill life lessons and helping building these relationships. That's the best way I know how to do it. And it's just, as an African American male, regardless of the ethnicity of the player I'm coaching, my goal is to help them become a better man, regardless.
Hey, Coach, Jacques Doucet from WAFB TV here in Baton Rouge. Very nice to meet you. Enjoyed listening to you today, Coach.
Thank you.
I know you're not from Louisiana, but this almost looks like the Louisiana dream, right? You're coaching at Franklin and Jeanerette roughly 20 years ago, and now you're the defensive coordinator at LSU. What do you remember about your times at those high schools? And, how crazy is it that you are where you are now?
I learned a lot. I learned a lot. One, I learned because I was coming from the north, and I came down here to Nicholls State initially. And I was over there coaching with Darryl Day and Coach Jay Thomas, two LSU alum. And I learned a lot just in terms of dealing with the players. To me, Louisiana is important to me because that's where I grew into my coaching personality. As a very young coach, at the time when I came to Louisiana, I'd only been coaching for a year out of college. I graduated, I did a GA job at Lenore Ryan College. And so you're still trying to find your own. And being in Louisiana, the mentors that I was around, Coach Zeb Simon, at Jeanerette High School, like I said, Darryl Day and Jay Thomas, they gave you the confidence. They gave me the confidence to be who you are, right? Don't try to be anyone else. Don't be anyone else, because the players are going to see through if you're really genuine or not. And giving a coach that confidence at an early age, early in his career, just was the world to me. And then it gave me more confidence to learn how to deal with different types of players, right, from all different backgrounds and nationalities. And so I think that experience helped groom and set the foundation to who I am today as a coach and the process that we're on, the journey that we're on.
Hi, just want to thank everybody for having me today. Obviously have to thank the administration here and Coach O and everyone that played a vital role in getting me here to Baton Rouge, and couldn't be more excited to be here. Fired up to be sitting here in this chair in front of you guys today, and ready and willing to answer any questions you might have.
Hey Blake, welcome to Baton Rouge. My name is Michael Cobble. I work on TV here. A lot of down the street. The linebacker position this year at LSU was kind of underachieving, I guess. When you look at what you got when you walk into this job, how excited are you to work with some of those guys and maybe have them reach their potential?
I'm really excited. I've had one opportunity so far to kind of just see them move around, and I think there's really, have the opportunity to work with a bunch of talent, a lot of youth. So, sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. And the one thing I like about young players is, a lot of them haven't created a lot of bad habits. So kind of like dealing with a fresh pound of Play-Doh a little bit. So I'm excited to get the opportunity. Really, today will be the first time we really get to be hands-on and work on the grass with them.
Hey, Coach, this is Shay Dixon with 24/7 Sports. Congrats on the new hire.
Thank you.
Coach O called you an outstanding recruiter a little bit ago. Obviously, when you were at Tech, y'all guys recruited the Stale, and then at Miami, you recruited Louisiana. How excited are you now to put on an LSU polo and be able to recruit those same guys here and in that Houston area?
I'm really excited about it. Obviously, having this logo on your shirt, it just means more. So when you walk into a school, especially in the state of Louisiana, in a city like Houston with so much talent, kids will perk up when you walk through the door. So hopefully it's a lot easier than it was, being thousands of miles away or even at a smaller school. So I'm excited about the opportunity. I absolutely love coaching kids from Louisiana, and there's just they just have an inherent toughness about them. They like to work. I always say you can't ask them to do it enough. Those guys, they're blue collar and they have a business-like approach to this game, so they're fun to coach.
Hey Blake, Brody Miller with The Athletic. Obviously linebacker is a position that's kind of evolved with modern football. So what exactly do you kind of look for specifically with linebackers you want?
That's a good question. I think like you just talked about, it's really evolved. The first thing I always want to look for is toughness. Are they tough? You want them to have good length and good speed. They got to be able to play in space, like you just talked about, the ability to make open field tackles. And then high character guys. I really believe that if a guy is willing to come in and work and take care of his business, he's going to be a really great player for you one day.
Hey, Blake, Brooks Kavina from the Advocates. I actually played at Clear Lake in 2009, so I know about Clear Springs. So,
nice. I played at Clear Lake.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What year?
Graduated in 2000.
Okay.
You never saw my statue out front of the building?
Oh,
They must have tore it down with the new construction.
Well, they're not erecting any of me, so I don't have to worry about it. Well, all right, Falcons, all right. Ed Ogeron was talking about how you and Daronte Jones, you can help support this defense. What's kind of your plan with him, and what do you see this vision?
My plan, and I talked to Daronte, right when I accepted the job, and I'm here to be a sounding board for him. I'm not here to be the defensive coordinator, and I wanted him to know that, up front, and I guess he had done a little research on me and felt comfortable with me as well. But I tell you, the last couple of days spending time with that guy, he's really, really, I think we're going to gel really well together. We've been out to lunch and kind of just got to know each other, and I think our personalities really gel well together. And I told him I'm here to help, and I know the pro game is probably a little different than the college game, and if I do make a suggestion, it's out of a good place, and we're all trying to win games here. And he's a low ego, high output guy, much like myself, so I don't think it'll be an issue. But I'm fired up to work for him. Really, really sharp, knows his stuff, and like I said, just fun to be around.
Yeah, Blake, Ron Higgins, Tiger Ag magazine. Most of the time when you have a move, it's a big transition. Having had as many ties you have to Louisiana and your wife at Vanderbilt, I imagine this wasn't a hard sell.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't looking to leave Miami, and this is probably, it is the only job that I would have left Miami for. The ability for my wife to be so close to home. We got 3 kids, 6, 3, and 1, so bless her heart. She's the real MVP. I don't know how she does it, but being able to be close to home, and a lot of her best friends still live, between here, Mandeville, Lafayette, and I have a lot of family in Covington, Madisonville, Mandeville. So it's a dream come true to be able to come home and have the support that we have. And when I told her, she was crying tears of joy. So to be able to see that, and the old saying, happy wife, happy life. We were fired up to get here.
Ed said that as he interviewed y'all, it was critical to see how you would be able to talk and connect with players. So how do you approach building?
See, that's what you have to do first and foremost. Without trust, there is no relationship. And, a coach told me a long time ago that a kid doesn't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I've really followed that philosophy my entire coaching career. I've already sat down already called and had conversations with all the linebackers and let them know that, I'm going to make them a better player, but I'm also going to make them a better person. And that just comes from spending time together, having them over to the house, being around me and my family, seeing how I interact with my wife and my kids, and hopefully can portray a father figure mentality to some of these guys.
Hey, Coach, Glenn Gilbo from USA Today, Louisiana. Papers, straightforward up. You used to coach. Are you going to be recruiting North Louisiana? And could you have stayed at Miami as defensive coordinator?
Yeah, absolutely. Could have stayed at Miami as defensive coordinator. And, Coach Diaz and I had conversations about when this came up. And, it was, like I said, there wasn't going to be another place that I left Miami for. As far as the recruiting, we really haven't sat down and talked about areas. I've recruited Shreveport. I've really recruited all of Louisiana, Houston. So wherever they see, wherever I can help the staff be most valuable, that's where I'll be put.
Hey, Blake, Jacques Vise, WAFB, Channel 9 here in Baton Rouge. Enjoyed talking to your brother, Bo. He gave me a lot of great stories about you. You seem passionate about your high school days, so let me ask you. He told me a story that sums you up. Your high school, he said, more likely to go to NASA than the NFL. You guys didn't have a whole lot of talent, but you shocked this team in the playoffs, and you had never kicked before, but they let you kick that game, you kicked the game-winning extra point and everything. Remember that game?
Oh yeah.
What can you recall about that game and just your spirit? He talked about when you played, at Tulane. You were an undersized linebacker, but you always, you could tell you were going to be a good coach.
Yeah, I think I've always had a passion for the game. Probably had, a chip on my shoulder just being undersized and kind of doubted, my entire career. But that game specifically, I think it was the first round of the playoffs versus North Shore, and I believe they signed like 17 Division I players off of that team, and I think we had maybe 5 or 6. So, our kicker, he hadn't made the grade, so we had kicking tryouts, I think, on that Monday or Tuesday, and I ended up being the kicker. And long story short, we were down 21, and I was such a bad kicker, I accidentally kicked a squib kick off of their front line, and that caught it. We recovered it and kind of got us going, and ended up coming back and kicking the game-winning extra point there in the last minute. So something you'll never forget. But I've always had a passion for the game. My mom always used to think I would be an agent or a coach or something. I'd watch reruns of SportsCenter from, when they played the same thing over from 6 in the morning till 6 at night. And she's, I could memorize the whole show by the end of the day. And that's just, how I don't know. It's always something I've always been passionate about is sports and especially football.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much. I just appreciate Coach O for bringing me to this wonderful organization. I think one thing that me and him have in common is that we want to win, and it takes more than just a lot. It takes dedication and perseverance and will to bring in the right players as well as work with the right people to achieve high accolades, especially in the SEC. So it was an honor just to be hired and to coach defensive line, which I've loved and been a part of. Been playing and coaching, pretty much my whole career, and I'm blessed to be here.
Hey, Coach, this is Shay Dixon of 24/7 Sports. Congrats on the hire. Being back in college, and obviously you had a successful career, first rounder.
That's right.
How do you describe kind of your teaching philosophy as someone who's done it all, been where these guys want to be, high draft picks, 10 years in the league as a coach?
Well, I think this teaching is teaching, no matter what level of football you're on, whether it's high school, collegiate, NFL. What you have to do is you have to set a foundation, and then it's just all through, obviously it's years through the experience that I played with, but I've also worked with great coaches. Started my father coached played for 12 years and coached for 30 years. So he was my foundation, but then in addition to coaches that I had in college, Bill Dutton, Dwayne Board, Pepper Johnson, and Greg Blosh. Those coaches, one thing I've learned from them is just the fundamentals and foundations of playing a efficient defensive lineman is footwork, hand placement, things of that nature, pass rush, eye-hand coordination, feet progression. Those are the crucial things that make you an elite defensive lineman. And just to continue to be consistent with it and continue to communicate with it and continue to harp on it day in and day out, no matter how effective you are or ineffective you are. I always taught my defensive line that when in doubt, especially when it comes to fatigue or when in doubt when things are going well for you as an individual, as a group, as a team, you have to focus on fundamentals because fundamentals help you win games.
Hey, Andre, this is Glenn West with LSU Country. Congratulations on the job.
I appreciate it.
I was just curious, you've been in the NFL now, first 12 years as a player and then last 4 or 5 as a coach.
Yeah, 13, man. No, don't take away my credit year.
Gotcha. Just what made you want to make the switch back down to college ball? Was it just the relationship with Coach O?
I never looked at it as coming down to college. I think in general, coaching is coaching. For me, and I told Coach O this. Obviously, I had interviewed for some positions in the NFL level, but it just didn't work out. Following the Jets. So on the collegiate level, I had looked into it, and LSU was there, and I just looked at it as an opportunity, and as an elite program. And I was very fortunate to coach players. Devon Godcho, shout out to Godcho, he's very happy for me, LSU alumni. But for me, it was just coaching itself is an opportunity, and for me, I just wanted to continue my journey to develop and learn football, and I'm working with some great coaches, and I'm happy to reconnect with Daronte Jones, who I worked with with the Miami Dolphins. And I think that's in general, whether you're a former player or a player in general or a coach, you want growth. All right? You want to aim for something more higher. So it's in a sense it's more laterally, but it's just more of an improvement as far as developing my game, and it's an honor.
Hey, Coach Glenn Gilwell, USA Today, Louisiana. How did you tell Coach O no when he was recruiting you to go to USC and you went to Cal? How did that go down?
That's a dad question. You have to ask Reuben Carter. You have to ask my dad that. My dad said you ain't going to USC, so I was like, all right, man, you called it. You have to call him up on that one.
Have you followed Coach O's career over the years after that?
On and off, but it's just amazing how this coaching and I think football is like a evolving circle. And I was just to the fact that he recruited me back in my high school days, and now we're here. It's amazing how time passes, and what an honor and opportunity.
Mickey Joseph, one of your co-coaches, same thing.
Oh yes.
Ed didn't go.
Oh yes, no doubt. And but like I said, overall, it's just every day you wake up, you see the stadium, and you realize, well, I'm here, and I'm just ready to coach good football.
Hey, Andre, Brody Miller with The Athletic. Obviously, Ed Ogeron said that he's going to be more involved with the defense this year, and obviously he's a D-line guy. I guess just how does that dynamic kind of work in your opinion? Obviously it's your group, so it is to some extent.
Well, I think in general, I've always been a team player, and me and Coach O have taught this, and we both have a passion for defensive line. If anything, I'm learning from him. I mean, here's a man that's been in the game for such a long period of time, and hopefully I'm blessed enough to coach for as long as he has. So it's about understanding our roles and understanding the foundations. But one thing that we do have in common is that we want to win, and we're very hard on our players. We critique our players, and one thing we love watching film. And so it's a great connection to have such a guy that's so heavily involved in the defense, because he takes pride in it. And what coach that's played it and now coached it does not want to work with a guy like that. That's something that you enjoy because he brings energy, and you want to continue to work hard for him and help be successful.
Andre, Brooks Gabina from The Advocate. Welcome, Baton Rouge.
I appreciate it.
The entire starting defensive line came back, and Ed Ogeron's talked about the talent that's there. What do you see in that, and your kind of philosophies through learning and playing as an NFL player? What do you think this group can do?
Well, it's great that you see the returning, especially I'm still getting my terminology, returning seniors coming back for another year. I think one, it shows that they're dedicated to the program. But also, two, they want to finish on a winning note. Obviously, last season's last season, but they didn't have the success they had prior to the year before. So they want to come back and make a statement as a group. And but also, I also am aware that coming back is also it's a big year for them as individuals. But I've always the men that I spoke to, I just say at the end of the day, you just trust yourself, you trust your technique, and trust the man next to you, and we'll play good football. And that's what's important. And you make a statement as far as creating a defensive line tradition. That's just something that I and my not only myself but Coach O believe in. Having an efficient D-line tradition where guys continue to come in and play hard for us and be elite. That's what it boils down to.
Thank you, Andre. Appreciate the time.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Wow, it's great to see so many familiar faces on this Zoom call. I'm sorry we couldn't do this in person, but it's good to see you guys. Just as the other guys have mentioned, we're just so humbled and honored, my family and I, to be back here at LSU and to have the opportunity to serve this great institution and this state and its people. Just thankful for Coach Orgeron, thankful for Scott Woodward, LSU administration, and really the entire state of Louisiana for making this a really easy transition and for welcoming us with open arms. My wife went to school here, my kids were born here in Baton Rouge, and really, really excited to get back here and help this organization accomplish all the goals that we have through the vision of Coach O and through the administration, and help bring more championships to Baton Rouge. So with that, blessed to be here, and we'll open it up for any questions that you guys may have.
What's up, Austin? Good to see you again. Michael Cobble from
Hey, Michael.
2. What did you learn on your travels, and what do you hope to make this job? What do you hope to make it for the Tigers and for yourselves?
I think when you go different places, and as I've mentioned before, just having such an affinity for this program, and so even from afar, the ability to follow LSU and track players and track the staff and just see their growth, and you see that from afar, but at the same time, there's an inner growth as well. You learn, you reflect. You have time to really discover who you are, and you have time to take things that you've learned other places and really implement those. And so some of your philosophy, I think at times it actually makes it more sound, right? You say, all right, these are things that I believed in, and through my travels, I now more firmly believe in that. And then there are things that you say, okay, hey, I thought this or I felt this way last time I was at LSU, but actually being, at a different place, these are things that I can take, or areas that I can grow and improve myself and bring them back to Baton Rouge, and maybe tweak some things, through Coach O's vision that we can do better or that we can improve on as an organization to continue to help us sustain success. And I think the second part to your question, This job for me is just a blessing. I still think that it's kind of at the forefront of college football. So as we continue to grow and push the off the field roles in college football, to me it's just about being where my feet are, and taking what comes every day and figuring out the best way to maximize myself and maximize our employees for LSU to make us as great as we can be. So.
Hey, Austin, Brody Miller with The Athletic. I mean, obviously you're coming into this job at kind of an interesting time, time of transition. I guess, as you arrive here, I guess what have been the first things you see that you kind of, need to address, or things you want to do in the next few months?
I think it's really, really important to just to take time to listen and learn. And so, there were some things that I had an idea about, the last time I was here, having spent 5 years here before. And so I've come in with a very open mind and just taken it, meeting by meeting and day by day and really hour by hour, to be honest, to just listen to people, hear their heart, hear what makes them go, hear how we can take individuals, and we have great people here. And I think that's the one thing throughout my entire time at LSU that I can really stand on, is that we have great people. And so taking those people and really figuring out how to maximize them and bring them fulfillment and bring them career growth and bring them joy to what they're doing, but at the same time, maximizing the benefit for LSU as well, right? And so I think it's, for lack of a better term, a symbiotic relationship that you have to have where, it's a two-way street. And so you're maximizing the organization, but maximizing the people. And I think that's where we'll concentrate first. But to me, at this point, it's been probably wisest for me to listen and learn and grow and go from there in the future.
Hey, Austin, Brooks Gavina from The Advocate. Welcome back.
What's up, Brooks?
Hey, in the past, Ed Ogeron said that you'd help out with some roster management on the team, and it's an interesting transition that college football is going through. Perhaps a one-time transfer, the NIL, things like that. What are kind of your perspective on this and your history and what you see and kind of strategies of handling that future as it develops?
Sure. I think we'll start with what Coach O said earlier. I think it's really a new day in college football where, it is probably best served to keep a scholarship or two on signing day in order to, explore opportunities that come in the spring and guys, good players where you may have an immediate need that you can go out and address some of those and get a quality player to come in and kind of bridge the gap between maybe some younger players and I won't call it a weakness, but maybe an area that you might need some help immediately. So it's really a double-edged sword, to be honest, Brooks. It's probably good, in my opinion, that the players have a little more control over their future in college football than it is in the past. And so I think about that with an open mind. I think about, if it were my son, what I would want them to do or the ability to be where they want to be. I mean, I transferred colleges when I was in school. And so for a number of different reasons, it happens. And so I think you have to have an open mind about it. The whole roster management thing, I think it's a really deep question. We could probably spend an hour talking about it, just how you get there, how, potentially at times you do become light at a position. But I think, the factors in, just talent, injuries, off the field issues, and then the transfer portal now, right? When guys are not playing, it can really quickly dwindle your numbers and create an issue where you may have done a good job, but just by the nature of the beast might create a deficiency. On the flip side, as we just talked about, it also opens up an avenue to bridge that gap some, and the people that take advantage of the transfer portal best, I think, are able to go out and address immediate needs and become good quality teams at some areas that they may be lacking because they use the transfer portal in the right way. But make no mistake about it, we want to keep as many of our guys here as we can, and so it's a constant recruiting process for our team and our players. And I think, all the coaches that have set up here have talked about a trust and relationship building as being part of this process, and I think that's more important now than ever.
Hey, Coach, Shay Dixon with 24/7.
What's up, Shay?
On being back. I know you've been part of Frank Wilson's staffs and at Orgeron's, and then obviously worked other places, and a lot of stops recruited Louisiana, obviously here at LSU. Y'all done a lot there in 2022 already, and kind of following up on Brooks's roster management question, what does recruiting Louisiana mean in this day of college football where transfer portal and everything else, and how important is focusing there even as early?
I think it's of huge importance to us, Shay. When you hear Coach O speaks, he speaks about Louisiana first, and I think that's our philosophy as we move forward. I think you've seen, at least in my time here, and in the past, but especially going into 22, a conscious effort to evaluate and be really, really on top of these guys in the state for 22. I think it's an incredibly deep class. And it's one that we have to do our best to put up a fence around the state and keep a lot of these top players here. I think the players in Louisiana, after having been other places, it's a different kid. There's a toughness, there's a competitive spirit that comes with the kid in this state that you don't get everywhere else. And that's not to say that there aren't kids that fill that same role, but I think generally speaking, across the board, the competitiveness and the ability to be coached and to be pushed of the kids in this state is different. And so we definitely have an emphasis on that here. We definitely want to dig as deep as we can to, evaluate players in this state and make sure that we're getting the right fit for LSU. But at the same time, if there are guys that can fit what we need outside the state as well, going out and making sure that we evaluate them as well.
Hey, Austin, Jacques from Channel 9.
What's up, Jacques? How are you, man?
I'm doing great.
Good
to see you back, man. Yeah. I would like to think that you played a big role in a lot of those guys who won the Fiesta Bowl and then the national championship. I was just curious what it was like for you to watch that and to, I guess, in your heart, sharing some of that success. And you can't recreate that, but how can you get back to that?
Sure. It was such an amazing experience. I've talked about the affinity that my wife and I have for this place and this institution and this community and these kids. And that first year, 2018, when I was at A&M and we played the 7 overtime game, it was probably the most surreal moment of my career to have not gotten to A&M until May, and then you go into the summer, right, and you go into the season. And I remember never thinking that the day would come that we would play LSU, and it finally gets here, and all of a sudden I'm standing on the sideline at Texas A&M, and I'm looking across, and I'm just looking at so many people that I know so much about, and so many kids that I know so much about, and I know their families, and you know who they are. And it became a very, very surreal experience for me to be there for that. And then to come into Tiger Stadium in 2019, the year that LSU won the national championship, was very surreal in its own right as well, because I had never been an opponent here until that. And so it was a a night that I would like to forget, but one that I'll remember for sure because of the crowd in the stadium, and I got to experience Tiger Stadium, and it really gave me an appreciation for it, as an opponent, and so I thought that was a pretty unique experience. But just to see all these kids grow up, and that's what they were when we recruited them here, and to become young men and holistically develop who they are, athletically, academically, spiritually, socially. And see them head into the NFL and beyond and have success and continue their journeys. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about is developing these guys as young men and growing them as people. And I think it's been an incredible journey. And you don't ever want to try to, like you said, recreate that. But I think we can take some of the variables and things that we did well and continue to implement those things and try to get as close as we can to that in the future moving forward. And the dynamic will always be different. Every team is its own, but at the same time, we can get close.
Subscribe to the Tuff Tiger Talk channel and stay up to date for all things LSU football.